And for some of you that are listening who think that we're crazy and think that it's way off kilter, it could be. Like, it could be that we don't know what we're talking about in this sense as it pertains to you, because there's a lot of people that don't have any problems with their feet.
Yeah.
And what I'm starting to notice in this like foot space that we're diving into, it seems to be a very, very massive problem for a large percentage of the population, but it's not everybody. Like, some people's feet they're okay. Can they work on their feet to be stronger, and maybe it could help impact some other things and be positive in their life? Maybe. But I'm seeing this as a major problem for men. I'm not saying that women don't have this problem at all, but I'm seeing it as a major problem more for men. A lot of women that I see and women that I know, they naturally have a nice arch in their foot a lot of times. Not everybody. I'm not saying everybody. Maybe there are some females that grew up playing a lot of sports and they did a lot of soccer and they stuffed their foot into a cleat, and maybe because of that they have symptoms nowadays where their knee is bothering them. If something is bothering you, I would say 100% start to look into and examine the footwear that you're wearing. I think it could have a really big impact. But I also want to share with people that it's not everybody. Here's what I discovered. I was thinking about this the other day. I was trying to be really thoughtful about this because we're trying to share information that we feel is like in the best interest of everybody listening, right?
Yeah.
As I thought about it a little bit more, I'm like, okay, there's male shoes and there's female shoes, like most companies, right? You go to buy a Nike, there's a size for men, there's a size for women. And here's what I believe to be true, even though I didn't even look it up, but I'm just imagining that this is true. Let's see if you can follow me. A woman's shoe, I think, is exponentially wider than a male shoe in accordance to its size. So a woman's shoe, a size 8, in an equal comparison to a male shoe, let's just say a woman's shoe is normally let's just for argument's sake say a woman's shoe is normally a size 8.
Yeah.
And let's for argument's sake say that a male shoe is normally a size 11. I don't know. I'm probably off on my numbers, but I'm guessing that in proportion of the length of the size 8 female shoe, that it's wider percentage-wise than the male shoe that is the size 11. That's just a proposed thing that I've been thinking about. So what I'm trying to say basically is that most men, if they were to step on something that was shaped like their shoe, but it had no top to it, their foot would squish outward over the sides of whatever the thing it is that they stepped on. Let's say they stepped on something that's similar to the soles that are in the shoe, that rubbery thing, right? You put that down on the ground. I think most men are going to fail that test, and their foot is going to expand out beyond that. I think with women, I don't think that their feet do the same thing, because women are proportionately or typically smaller than men.
Yeah, well, just really quick, sorry, Nsima.
You good, bro?
I just Googled it. Are women's shoes wider than men's? It's just for fun. The first thing that comes up, compared to the corresponding men's shoe, women's shoes are built wider in the forefoot and toe area and narrower in the heel. And then it says reflecting the gender differences in foot shape. So your hypothesis, at least.
So here's what I think would happen. Here's what I think is like a cure for this. If men's shoes, if all the fucking molds that they make out there right now were just 20% wider, we would have half the issues that we have with feet. People still might need to explore how much padding and shit they get underneath their shoes, but the main problem is that your feet can't fucking move. Your toes can't move. They're jammed in.
Yeah.
So cleats and everything, wider.
For
all
sure,
of them.
cleats. I mean, that's what got your foot,
cleats,
right,
bro.
Nsima? That's got that you had to get shit shaved off.
Yeah. Yeah, cleats are fucked. Hopefully somebody can fix that at some point. Our Project Fam, this episode is brought to you by Vivo Barefoot Shoes. We've been wearing these shoes for almost a year now. They're flexible. They have a wide toe box. They allow your feet to get connected to the ground, and they will make your feet stronger, and they don't look like shit like a lot of these other barefoot shoes. Andrew, how can they get them?
You guys got to head over to vivobarefoot.com and at checkout, enter promo code PowerProject to save 20% off your entire order. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Let's get back to this video.
But Mark, it makes me think, problems, right? If we didn't end up going down the rabbit hole of like Vivo or whatever, I would have I would have assumed everything's cool with my feet. I wouldn't have really thought much about my feet because it was going down the Rata Vivo, learning more about foot health, doing more things with the feet, seeing how much dysfunction and lack of control was going on with my feet. Because like I did BJJ, like I'm barefoot on the mats. I never thought about my feet as being anything or any part of an issue. And as I've worked on it, the reason why I guess I yap so much about it is because it has made such a big difference for me. And I've already been doing this shit for a minute. Like I've been doing jujitsu for 7 years. I've been lifting. I've been on top of the fitness thing. But the strengthening of my feet has made already such a big difference for me athletically. And it hasn't even been that long. That's why I'm like, I didn't even realize I had a problem. I thought everything was pretty much cool. And I'm just out here working on certain weaknesses. But the foot was such an easy fix, partially because, you know, you don't have to get shoes. You could just start going barefoot in certain places. Shoes just make it easier. But seeing how much of a change has happened with it in terms of going through the growing pains of my feet getting bigger, the tendons getting stronger, all of that, then I think like, wow, if this made a big difference for me, what about the person who they weren't even thinking about this in their fucking stratosphere? Like this is the last thing. Maybe in the realm
for you, maybe it's in the realm of practicing more nasal breathing. Maybe it's the same realm of like mouth tape. Maybe it's the same idea of even something like protein leveraging. Maybe something as simple as some intermittent fasting. These are all things that you introduced into your life that you're like, and now cold plunging. These are all things that you introduced into your life where you're like, they're easy enough. Easy enough for me to do. Maybe you didn't have an idea before that exposure to cold was going to do anything. Maybe you didn't know, or maybe you didn't make, like the mouth tape thing seems like a real stretch, right?
Yeah.
You're like, come on, bro. Tape my mouth? Like, do you want me to die? Like, that's usually what people
That's
say.
what people say.
I got allergies.
Yeah, my nose, I can't breathe out of it. So I agree with you. And I think that it's great that we have, you know, hopefully the people that listen to this show, hopefully they continue to give us more recommendations, because we've had kind of one thing lead to another on the show many, many times. And in bringing on the GOTA guys, and then starting to talk more about functional patterns and starting to kind of open up that whole can of worms on the movement pattern, I think there's like another wave coming in fitness that is a little different than what we've seen in previous years. I think there's a pretty strong wave when I was getting like way into it deep, when T-Nation was a big thing. And then it seemed like there was kind of like another wave with CrossFit. And now it seems like there's a wave, and there was a little wave with powerlifting, a mini wave. Yeah, a little mini wave came in there, and people rode that wave for a couple of years, and powerlifting was pretty popular. But now you're kind of seeing that fall out of favor a little bit. And what's replacing it is people just like moving better in the gym.
Yeah.
And this is another great thing, is like maybe people didn't think, like maybe there's a bunch of people that can squat with full capacity. They have good range of motion. But maybe because they haven't explored it before, they didn't realize that when they get into like an ATG split squat, that they have hardly any strength, or they don't have any balance, or they have more pain than they thought. And they didn't really realize, fuck man, if I just train my shin, I train my tibs, I can maybe get some relief for my knee. So I think there's a lot of cool things going on where it's really good that we're poking around and that we're finding things. And I think on this show, it's really great that we're not afraid to dive into stuff that might be a little different, a little bit off.
Yeah. And it usually happens, we call it like the podcast universe, where like shit it'll kind of circle a couple times, and like you see it once and then it comes back again, and it keeps coming back. You're like, fuck, I can't ignore it at this point. So we already had started wearing Vivo barefoot shoes, and then the GOTA guys came in. And then I seen how like that whole community, they almost do everything barefoot. So then I was like, oh, okay. And then I started seeing a lot more Vivo shoes on that whole community.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm already on the right path. You know, and then here I am. I don't even know how many months now, but like that's the only type of shoes I'm going to wear. I'll mess with Vibrams, but
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Vibrams, I like them.
Yeah. It's just, I was thinking about it today, actually. I was like, I wonder if I wear these in like a commercial gym, like what would that be like?
Yeah.
You know, who knows?
You're now that guy in that gym. Like people look at you like, oh, what? Oh, he's one of those hippies? Okay.
He doesn't do just bicep curls?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Power Project family, a lot of the guys in the audience said that they hate me whispering. So I won't whisper anymore. I'll just whisper here again. So go ahead and comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out all our sponsors here in the bio or the description. Okay? All right. Bye.